Hello everyone. So in this session we are going to install Rocky Linux 8.8 on the virtual machine, which is server1.example.com. So we already have created a virtual machine on Oracle VM VirtualBox and also attached the ISO image. You can see that Rocky 8.8 x86_64 minimal.iso. So this ISO image you have to download and attach to this particular machine so that we can boot it from this ISO image for the installation. So let's proceed further. Click on start and you will see that the virtual machine is powering up and it should boot from the ISO image, and we should see the installation wizard after the booting process. Alright, so when you are working on the virtual machine environment, usually this particular screen we have to click inside the machine and then select install Rocky Linux 8.8 and press enter. So here you will notice some messages that you can ignore, or maybe while in installation you will see some procedure is going on, so you have to wait for the further actions which you need to take. Alright, so here we are. So in this particular screen you are just read the instruction like for each stage, and we have to follow the stages according to the given messages. So here, like, what language would you like to use during the installation process? So this is the first screen, like, welcome to Rocky Linux 8.8, and you can see that this particular language which we have to select and then click on continue. So I'm just first of all clicking inside and continue. You can see there are certain stages which we have to complete. So one is this installation summary screen will walk you through the different configuration and settings which we are going to do during the installation. So keyboard we already have selected, language support we already have selected, and you can see that the installation destination, which is currently automatic partitioning selection, which is marked in a warning stage, there we have to go and complete all of this. So if you read the instruction on the screen, please complete items marked with this icon before continuing to the next step. So we have to complete that. So let's proceed one by one, and to understand each and every term here, for example, the installation source is something from where you are installing this operating system. So in our case, we have attached the local media, that is ISO image, to the drive. Next is software selection. So in software selection, if you go, you will find the different categories of softwares are given. For example, server, which will make this particular OS ready with packages installed which are required for the basic server configuration. There are other categories as well that we are going to see, and the one which we are seeing here, installation destination. So in this particular section, we have to select which destination it is going to be installed. So in our case it is anyways the disk which we have attached to this VM. So we have attached around 20 GB of hard disk, and that we have to select. So I'm just going to installation destination, enter. You can see here by default the local standard disk is showing, and which is 20 GB of size, named as a SDA, which is SATA disk, and primary disk, which is first disk attached to this server, referred to as a A. So SDA, this is the first disk attached to this server. So here you have to select the device, which is already, you can see the check mark, and if you wanted to add any additional disk, that you can do it from here. But right now we are going to perform the installation based on the configuration which we have done. So simply click on the done, and you will see that it will check the configuration or the availability of the disk, and it will also make that particular stage clear. So here now automatic partitioning selected. There are two ways which we can do the partitioning during the installation. One is automatic and one is manual. So when you are doing manual, minimum 3 partitions are required to install Linux operating system. So first partition is slash. So in Linux we are referring it as a slash partition, which is the main partition. The other partition is swap partition, okay, which is a virtual memory, and the next partition is slash boot partition, which required for the booting related configuration files, to store the bootloader related configuration file. So if you are going manually, there are 3 partitions minimum required for installation of Linux operating system. So here automatic partition selected, and the system will take care of the creation of those partition. Next is kdump. Kdump is kernel crash dumping mechanism. It's a utility in Linux actually. During the kernel crash, it actually stores the information which is invaluable to determining the cause of the problem. So kdump usually consume some amount of memory. You can simply go there. Let's So here you can see that kdump is a kernel crash dumping mechanism. In the event of system crash, kdump will capture information from your system that can be invaluable in determining the cause of the crash. So right now, for the practice purpose, we don't require this. Okay, so we are disabling this. Just make that way, set done. So you can see now kdump is disabled, but when you are deploying the servers for the production use, in that scenario you should reserve the kdump. You should enable the kdump for your server. Next is time and date. So here you have to select the time zone which your country belongs to, or your servers belongs to. Right now, for example, we are in IST time zone, that is Indian time zone. So you can simply go there and select. So I'll just let's click. So in this particular scenario, there is some problem with the mouse integration, but that we can take care, like Asia. And Kolkata. Okay, so this is the Indian time zone, and when it comes to date and time, that you can set here. For example, you will see that the current date, like 30th of March, okay, that you can make it up, and then just click on done. All right, moving to the next setting, that is network and host name. So here you have to enable the network adapter. So you have to, just a moment. All right, so just make it on. So I'm using keyboard now for operating within this particular virtual machine, and that maybe you see some challenges. Also on the next screen we are going to define the host name for this particular virtual machine, which is, right now is a localhost.local domain. Instead of that, we are going to have server1.example.com. Click on apply, and then again done. So here you can see that network and host name like wired connected, and then next is you have to select the root password. So root is the default administrator for Linux system, and during the installation only we are setting up this password so that we can log into the admin account. So root is the system administrator of Linux. So set the strong password and click done. There is one more stage, that if you want to create an additional user, that you can create separately. And here if I go to user creation, I am adding one more user, which will be normal user account having the administrative privileges. So I'm giving the name called Linux admin, for example, and making it as administrator. Set the password, and that's it. So this is how we have completed all of the stages, and we also understood like what is the role or what is the function of all these particular settings and configuration. So as we went to the different like settings, and we selected a particular areas, and we are moving further for the installation. If you want to just look at the software selection, then you can see by default the server, which is an integrated easy to manage server, so related packages will get installed here. And there are other categories like minimal install, which will come with the basic functionality, and there are other options like custom operating system. There you need to select what packages you would like to, or what utilities or softwares you would like to install during the installation process. So right side you can see that file and storage server, genome is the desktop environment, hardware monitoring utilities, so you can customize the way you want. So right now we are going with the server as a base environment for our installation. So click done, and now you can proceed for the installation. So just click on begin installation. And you will see that the installation has started creating LVM physical volume or the file system. So this stage is basically creating creation of the partitions. So system is creating the partition, and there are certain prerequisites, or maybe it is downloading the packages for the source which we have selected, okay, and the environment which we have selected. So it will further install the required packages, and the final stage will come like reboot the system after the complete installation procedure. So let's wait for the installation to be completed, and we will again see this. So here, once the installation is completed, you can see the option like reboot the system, and the message is like Rocky Linux is now successfully installed and ready for you to use. So go ahead and reboot your system to start using it. So just reboot the system and wait for the login screen to come up. So you will find certain procedure is going on, that is some stopping the services that we are going to understand. And you will find the default installation like procedure, the kernel which is available. This is the main program. Alright, so here we are. So by default, as we have installed the minimal version of this operating system, we can see the login prompt in the command line interface, that is CLI. And if I put the username, which is LA admin, the password which we have set during the installation procedure, and you will see that by default now I logged into the system. So this particular prompt which we are seeing is the Linux shell, okay, or it is also referred as or called as a Linux command prompt. This is command line interface where we are executing the commands, and this shell basically talks to the kernel and perform the further operation. So right now the installation has successfully completed, and we are able to see the login prompt here, and this is the CLI mode. If you want to see the operating system version, certain commands I'm executing like cat space /etc/ red hat release. So cat is the command to display the content of the file, and I am just using the file path /etc/ red hat release, and you can see that the Rocky Linux release 8.8, which is the version of our operating system. If you want to see the kernel version, that is presented to 4.18.0 -477.10.1, which is a kernel installed in this particular operating system. To clear the screen, you can use clear command. So in the next session, we are going to understand about the basic, fundamentals of Linux shell, how to work on the command line prompt, what are the different syntax of this, OS, and what are the next further configuration which we are going to do. Okay. With if config command, you will see that the IP address which right now it is visible is 10.0.2.15. so if I want to use putty software and to connect this particular machine, I can use that IP address. But right now, before moving to that, let's check the setting of this particular machine. And in the network, you can see that NAT is selected. So here just use bridge adapter, and currently it is selected or attached with the Wi-Fi which is connected to this system. You can click OK and restart this machine once. So we will get the IP address by which we will be able to log in this particular Linux server remotely. Remotely means from our laptop or desktop systems. So post reboot, we will see what is the IP address is assigned to this particular. So post reboot, you must see the IP address. So log into the server first. And check if you are having the IP address like 192.168 and .1.37, which is the IP address. Now we have made the network setting to the bridge connection, and you should be able to connect from your laptop using putty software to this particular server. So now how to log into this server? So usually SSH is the protocol. SSH is one of the service, one of the mechanism in Linux by which you can log into any Linux server remotely. Okay, so most of the Linux servers are having this service by default running, and SSH works on network port number 22. So by default the SSH port is 22. And how you will log into this server by using SSH, let's see. So there is a software called putty software. So I am just starting the putty software. Okay, so this particular software is one of the popular software used to log into the Linux servers. So the first field which we are adding is like host name or the IP address. So 192.168.1.37. so this is the IP address we got to this particular server, and I check that IP address by using ifconfig command after login to the Linux terminal. Okay, so 192.168.1.37 is the IP address of my server, and the SSH port by default is 22, and service connection type is by default selected as a SSH. So now click on open. You will see some fingerprint warning like this host key which we have to accept, and first time only you will see such type of instruction. So just accept it, and you will find the login prompt in putty software to 192.168.1.37 IP address. So now I am using the same username, that is admin, and password which I have set, and you can see that I am able to take the session, putty session of this particular server. So right now my machine is running at the back end, but from my Windows laptop or desktop I can use putty software to connect my server remotely. So this is the type of work we always do in industry. Like as a working professional, the servers are located at a different data centers, and the teams are based out at or situated at a different locations. So they are using such type of softwares to connect their servers, and then they are doing the further configuration or management of those servers. So here we are simply using the putty software. Now it is logged in and we can run this command. So the way we can execute on the console itself. So in the next session we are going to discuss about what is this terminal, what is the shell, user group management, and then further topics of the Linux. Thanks a lot. We can exit from here. And now this is our backend machine, right? The actual machine which is running, the actual servers. If you want to shut down this machine from the command line, you can simply use sudo space power off command, and you will see that this particular virtual machine got powered off. So you can see this virtual machine got powered off. If you want to use it again you have to power on and log in to this particular machine using putty software. So every time when you will start this machine, you will see the IP address of the machine by using ifconfig command, and to that IP address you can log in via putty software. So this is how we can always use this particular server and practice on it. Thanks a lot. Let's see that once again. Alright, so here we are. Let's log into the server. ifconfig. You can see that 192.168.1.37 is the IP address. I am starting the putty software on my laptop, then adding the IP address 192.168.1.37, port number 22, that is fine, and then open. So you could see I got a login prompt. Again I am putting the IP username and password, and here I am in putty session. So now I can work on this particular session. You can have multiple putty session also. If you take the duplicate session, right, you can work on a multiple sessions on the same server. So I can take n number of sessions here by using the putty. So this is the advantage of using this particular software to connect these servers remotely. So this way we will use it. And this is the normal user account, one standard account which we created. If you want to switch to the root account, you can simply use the command su root, or here you have to enter the root password, and you can see that now the user is logged in as a root at server 1. Or I'm exiting from this. If you want to switch like this, sudo su root, you can do that. Enter the password for L1 admin user account, and once you entered, you can switch. So sudo is a mechanism where a normal user gets administrative privileges. He can run the commands with the root privileges as well. So this is how you can work with this Linux terminal, and going forward we have multiple commands and multiple different activities which we are going to perform on this CLI operation. So exit from here. I'm exiting from all the window, and then you will come out, and here we can even directly close it, and it will ask for the power of the machine. This way you can click OK, and this particular machine will get powered on. So this is how you will use your practice lab on this particular Oracle VM VirtualBox having the Linux Rocky Linux 8 installed as your server. Thank you. See you in next session.